traffic jam. I don't know what to say today. I'm in a state of I've had zero motivation the past 2 days. I feel so disconnected from God. See, this is what happens. Anytime I lose my cool and cuss and raise hell, it separates me that far from God. I feel like I'm out at sea and I can't find land again. The people who understand, but it is just so infuriating to come on here every day and try to tell people what's happening. These people, like the Michael Perry from the other night, they can't answer the basic questions. The basic questions is, what is my motivation? I was almost ran over by a perk. Be careful, Winter. They will absolutely run you over and kill you. Basic questions. Let's start with what you would need to get a murder conviction. What would be the motive for me to lie? So I could do videos on 1,000 different things. Talking about government and my targeting is the least viewed videos on my channel. I've got a video that was nothing but me talking about a pot of possum, a crock pot with possum in it. And I talked for 7 minutes. I got almost 500 views. But I come on here and I warn people about what's happening in the world, in America today, and I can't break 150 people. YouTube doesn't review my videos. They don't refer my videos. They don't share my videos. Nothing. If I don't get views in the first 24 hours, it's a lockdown. They don't let anybody see my videos. I can't even log into my own channel and go through my videos without them blocking my own videos from me. So let's go to motive. What is my motive? Well, the first one say, well, you're just making money off YouTube. Well, I can assure you I ain't made a dime off YouTube. The only money I ever made off YouTube is money that people donated. And then the majority of the people that donated had bad intentions involved, like that wacko from Arkansas. So I'm going to get on here, act insane for what reason? Just to act crazy? 50 years old, do you think I really appreciate people thinking I'm nuts? So it's just like answers that need to be, questions that need to have answers. The same goes with the other night when I was recording the drone. If it's not a drone, what is it? Just like last night, I left. I took a video of the drone where I was, and it followed me right down the mountain, just like it always does. But what's the point? What's the point of sharing it again when nobody cares? The people who believe me have just settled into this. Yeah, he's getting followed. Okay. But has anybody done anything to change it? Has anybody got on the phone, called the FAA, and say, hey, why is this guy getting followed? Anybody called my airport and say, hey, why is this thing going over the airport? Have you guys, as an audience, picked up the phone and done anything? Because I can assure you that just this morning alone, I called between 3 and 5 different police departments and city halls around America for somebody's civil rights being violated. Yesterday, and I want you to do this, I Googled BlackRock and Duke Power. Duke Power is the one that controls our dams in North Carolina and controls all the power. BlackRock is the number 2 owner of stocks in Duke Power. So when I told you they opened the dam above the flooding and closed it below. Why? Because BlackRock owns the power company and they own the what? The mines. Stocks in these mines went up through the roof. They're building FEMA camps, 3 FEMA camps going in the mountains of North Carolina. FEMA camps. And on the news, people were recording the trucks coming in and out. And what kind of trucks do you think they were? 700 employees on the ground at each camp, and the trucks are bringing in are nothing more than mining equipment. The federal government is moving in the mining equipment to land from the people under the guise of humanitarian aid. So I tried to call Duke Power yesterday, and boom, it would not let my phone call go through. Every time I tried to call a Duke Power place, they blocked my call. Every single time. Then it got to the point it wouldn't even dial. My phone would not even dial again. I tried to Google it, it wouldn't see me anywhere. Hiding totally what's happening. Would not let me say what's going on. So, just like when they tried to kill Trump, not another word. Not another word. These people in the mountains are freezing to death right now. They're still pulling living victims out of the rubble. Still to this day, they're pulling people out of the rubble. But everybody's forgot. That's 50,000 votes in the mountains of North Carolina that will not be counted. They're not going to count them. A lot of votes in North Carolina have already been stolen. People said they went to vote and their vote had already been cast. And this is one thing I love to hear from these people that have no idea what they're talking about when it came to the 2020 election. They will all tell you, well, all the cases went to court and all the cases were kicked out of court. Donald Trump lost in cases to overturn the election. No, he didn't lose. He didn't lose at all. The Attorney General in every state, which every one of the swing states is controlled by what? A Democrat Attorney General. The Attorney General said that they had no jurisdiction to take the case. When they did, they actually did. Just like when it went to the Supreme Court, to the federal elections laws, how all the states unlawfully changed their election laws without the legislative branch doing it. They just wrote it down on a piece of paper. We're going to change this to accept mail-in voting. Boop, okay. And the Supreme Court refused to hear the case. Doesn't mean he lost. It just means they said, nope. No, 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 no. We're not going to listen. We're not going to listen. Every day that election day gets closer, the sicker I get. Because this is the calm before the storm. The only reason gas prices are $3.50 a gallon right now is because of the election. When the election happens, we're going to talk about hyperinflation like you've never. They're going to jack gas through the roof. We are finished as a nation. It is over. There is no more surviving. They're going to bring the pain. But, you know, what do I know? I've only been right every single time. I am sickened. I am physically ill from what's happening. And what makes me the angry is all these pundits that are on the right, and they have good motives. Donald Trump's winning by 2 and 3%. 951. We are not split down. Homosexuality in America 10 years ago was only less than 1% of the population. Now that number has grown. But the radical left in America is not 49 or 51%. It's not. Do you think these crazy people are really almost majority in America? They're not. And the Mexicans that came during Ronald Reagan's invasion of America, most of those are Catholic. I mean, and you do, in extreme circumstances, see a lot of gay Mexicans. There's a lot of them. A lot of them. But it isn't mainstream. Like, they all walk around in pink tutus and carrying little chihuahuas in their purses. America is not split down the middle. Congress is, because they have to keep it tight, because if they don't share a little bit here, a little bit, everything is rigged perfectly to give the powers that be in control and to give us the illusion that there's a reason we should vote. The Republicans have never had a spine. They're all blackmailed. Mike Johnson, I'm telling you. What's up, Knuckles? If men in America were the men that we had 150 years ago, it would be different. But there's not a man in this country willing to give his life up for liberty. Not one man alive in this country is willing to do what it takes to defend America. We're getting ready to have a nuclear war, folks. Did you know that? You know that, right? And there are the dumb sheep that we're the most powerful country in the world, America. We got the greatest army ever. No, we don't. And let me give you that. Let me tell you, we have the greatest military, the greatest gear. We have the greatest technology of all. I can tell you that. But if our commander-in-chief hates America, what do you think they're going to do with that military? Do you think they're going to use that military to defend us? They have turned weather weapons on us to kill us so they can loot the resources left of America. See, listen, what people don't understand, say you've got bad credit. You want to buy a car. Well, you don't have the credit. You got a couple $100 down payment. So you get $500 down. You say, okay, bank, here's the title to this car. And when I pay it off, then you sign a title. It's called a lien. We owe China $31 trillion. What do you think comes with that? What do you think's on that lien? Now, I'll tell you what China's done with the rest of the world. China's went into like Africa because China wanted Africa's minerals. So they said, we're going to build you a railroad system across the country of Africa. Okay, great. And then you pay us back. If you don't pay us back, then we have 100% mineral rights and we can start taking the land the railroad is on. Well, what happens? China knows that all the officials in Africa are corrupt, just like the officials in Canada. It's a big thing in Canada right now. China has bought off everyone in the Canadian Parliament. They have bought them hook, line, and sinker. So they're so corrupt. China knows they can take it. So China's been given permission to take whatever they want. And our government is facilitating the theft of our property. When you get in the mind frame that America is not a country, is America the corporation? We're a corporation. I know that Trump's going to win the race, but they're not going to let him be president. The Democrats have already said Jamie Raskin, one of the most vile humans on the planet, they are not going to validate the election if Donald Trump wins. They're not going to do it. They're going to say, nope, we're done. They're going to do exactly what Mike Pence should have done in 2020. They're not going to validate Donald Trump being the winner of the election. We can vote overwhelmingly, and I'll tell you this much. This is, for all the people that think Donald Trump lost, you need to listen to me right now. This is going to be the number one thing to tell you that Donald Trump did not lose. Barack Obama supposedly got 60 million votes. Barack Obama, 60 million votes. They want you to believe that Joe Biden, who stayed in this basement, never left the house, he's been inept the entire time he's been in Congress. He's always been dumb and he's always been corrupt. He's been corrupt since day one. His wife died in a car wreck, and then he started screwing the nanny. The nanny is Joe Biden. Okay? Joe Biden sacrificed his wife to get where he is today. He worshiped Moloch, sacrificed his wife, and this is what he's got now. They want you to believe that Joe Biden got 80 million votes. Sultan, you're incorrect. You're incorrect. Trump had more of the black vote than any Republican since long before Lincoln. Trump got more of the black vote than any Republican. That's the thing. Is people only believe what the news tells them. And this is the worst part. People say, well, we know the news lies to us, but they wouldn't lie that much, would they? That's why all the polls are skewed. Every one of them. I had somebody call last week. It was from the Quinnipiac polling agency. They do a poll every year. And there's a black woman giving me a poll on the election. And she was asking me about Mark Robinson, our governor election. She's asking me about Donald Trump and who I was going to vote for, blah, 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 blah. And she's like, well, are you going to vote for Mark Robinson? I said, I am going to vote for the black Nazi. She said, what? I said, well, the AI that CNN set up said that Mark Robinson said he's going to be a black Nazi. So I took the poll. People don't understand how the polls work. They say the polls are right. Well, what they do is they interview 90 Democrats, 10 Republicans, and they say, okay, everybody's voting for Kamala Harris. And that's how they get their average. But their polls are so screwed up, even Democrats now are voting for Trump. There's been a massive walk away from the Democrat Party. Massive. But they're never going to tell you the truth. Ever. Donald Trump, they figured it up. I remember election night 2020. The whole thing was rigged. When we went to sleep, Donald Trump was here and Joe Biden was here. Sultan, you're absolutely incorrect. Donald Trump was way up high, way up to the top, and Joe Biden was losing like by a third. And at 4 o'clock a.m. in every swing state, 99 out of every votes put into the machine went for Joe Biden, which is a statistical impossibility. Impossible. We saw the videos on the news. These guys are in the polling centers to be poll watchers, and they refuse to let them see it. It wasn't a red mirage. Donald Trump won overwhelmingly, and so did the Republicans, but they stole the election like they do every single year. If you haven't seen, and I'm not speaking to Sultan because Sultan's an idiot. He has no idea what he's talking about. It wasn't the mail-in votings. It wasn't. For one thing, they extended the time to vote. That's unlawful. Our federal elections are controlled by federal law. The states went in and changed the law to allow absentee voting when it wasn't allowed unless you're a military veteran. So they brought in all these, like at my house. I had 4 absentee voting cards show up at my house in my name, requested by me. And guess who didn't request the votes? I didn't request to have my mail-in vote. I didn't request to have a vote mailed in to me. Not at all. I vote in person. They've done that the whole time. They changed the law. The attorney generals in these states changed the laws where they didn't have the ability to change the law. How do I believe anything I read on the internet when it happened? I showed them on my channel. Look at this absentee vote that I didn't request. You're the fool, Sultan. Keep on. You'll be silenced, and I'll be done with you. I know what I've seen. I know the fact. You can go to the night that Donald Trump was there. You can see the night he was winning, and at 4 o'clock in the morning, boom. And guess what? In the swing states, where it was too close to call, they counted the votes for 30 more days. That's not lawful. That voting is 1 day, and then early voting before that. Just like the majority of the military voters. Did you know that the veterans that voted, that were in the military, active duty military, the majority of their votes didn't count either. But, oh no. What would I know? All these people see Donald Trump, scary, bad orange man. We have dealt, this is our 16th year under Barack Obama. 16 years dealing with Barack Obama's policies. All right, Sultan, you're gone. See ya. You're an idiot. And I don't deal with idiots. That's why I don't understand these channels. And by the way, I'll give you another statistic that people don't understand, especially ones that hate Donald Trump. They did a poll amongst all voting blocks that did not vote for Donald Trump, and they asked them, if you would have known about the Hunter Biden laptop, would that have affected your vote? And the majority of those people said, yes, I would not have voted for Joe Biden if I would have been aware of that information. You remember the 51 senior intelligence analysts signed a paper saying that the laptop from hell was Russia disinformation. It's just like right now, James, this week with it was an undercover interview with one of the guys from Google said, oh yeah, anything negative that comes up about Harris is kicked down the memory hole. Anything about Trump that's positive, kicked down the memory hole. The only thing they do is push everything they can to boost Kamala in the polls. Just like before, when Kamala first started running. Before she ran, she's a dumbass. Everybody hates her. She's got the highest turnover rate in the White House. Nobody likes her. Her policies suck. She sucks. She's dumb. Blah, 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 blah. And as soon as they stole the election from Joe Biden, and people like Sultan are too stupid to see. The Democrat, stop calling them Democratic Party. They're not democratic. They violate the law all the time. You cannot take Joe Biden's 14 million votes and say, oh, they don't count. They did the same exact thing to Donald Trump. They stole it from him. I don't care what you say. I've seen it. And if you haven't seen, I haven't seen the movie 2000 Mules yet, but you should go see it. I've seen the highlights. And it shows in that video 2,000 people who had thousands of ballots, thousands of them, and they go to these little pop-up voting centers out in the communities that Mark Zuckerberg paid for. They would show up with boxes full of thousands of ballots and just load the machines, load the machines, load the machines. That's not talking about the millions of dead people and illegals on the voter rolls that Judicial Watch has tried to remove from different states around the nation. In Virginia, Glenn Youngkin, the governor, started removing dead people and duplicate voters from their voting rolls, and the DOJ filed suit against them, putting a halt on them, removing the corrupt names from the voter rolls. The federal government suing a state who's trying to strengthen and make safer their elections. But I don't know what I'm talking about. That's just fake news. There are those who say, well, how did Donald Trump win? How did Donald Trump win in 2016? I don't know. I just know this. I should read my Bible a lot more than I do. I should read my Bible a lot more than I do. But I know the Bible says something about, and I just lost the verse, I just lost it, that no weapon formed against us shall prosper. No weapon formed against us shall prosper. If you looked at everything that's happened to Donald Trump since he ran for president, that scripture is the only thing that makes sense. They tried to kill him. They tried to put him in prison. 90-some felonies on him, and I can go through every single case with you and show that he's innocent. Everything that they've done to that man to try to stop him from running. And no weapon against him shall prosper. So, I don't know. I think maybe God is just using Donald Trump to wake us up, to warn us that this is the end and that we don't stand a chance any longer. I think that's it. I just know in my heart there's no way that they're going to let him take the White House. That's why they had it set up and ready and waiting for him when he showed up. And listen, he had the entire White House against him. The whole bureaucratic state was completely set up to stop everything him did. And they did. They did a lot to stop him. But look how much he got done. Gas prices when he left, right here in North Carolina, were, some people say $1.67, some say $1.87 a gallon. As much oil as we have in America, we should be paying $1 a gallon. But see, people can't understand. That's because Joe Biden is owned by China and Russia. As long as we're not producing oil, guess what happens? Russia can sell their oil. Because why? Russia owns Joe Biden as well. China owns Joe Biden. Why? Because as long as we're not selling oil, they can force the mandates with the electric batteries, the electric cars. And who produces all the batteries? China. China is selling billions and billions of dollars in America. What's being forced on us? So I don't know what the future holds. I just know that you need to get your houses in order. What sucks is I've tried so hard to stay out of this. And the worst part is I waste so much time online arguing with people. And the worst part is these people are no more than bots. I want you to go across your town and in your districts, and you start counting how many Donald Trump flags and signs you see, and you start looking at how many Harris Waltz signs you see. You pay attention to what you're looking at, and you think to yourself, does the America, because we didn't vote for this. Joe Biden did not win the election. And I don't care who you are, you cannot tell me that Joe Biden has been in charge of America for the past 4 years. Barack Obama has been in charge with all the ones that rule the world. And I'm telling you, they will gladly lead us into World War III, because that's where we're going. Because if they cannot hide the theft of this election, they're going to enact the World Powers Act. We're going to be in World War III by the time the election gets here. They're going to make that decision. Are we going to do the war, or are we going to just steal the election straight out? Which one do we have to do? If they can steal the election straight out, and they're going to make a reason where people like me can't show up to the polls. Because, see, you've been hearing the boost here. Go vote early, vote early, vote early for Donald Trump. Well, how do you know they ain't going to steal them all in the early stages? See, there's no way to win. It doesn't matter who votes. It's who's counting the votes that matters. People don't understand that. It doesn't matter how many times you vote. And here's the worst part. In a lot of the states where people have been convicted of voter fraud, they don't get a slap on the wrist. It's not a big deal. So why wouldn't everybody just cheat? I'm honestly sick over it. I want to leave so bad. I know I'm in danger in North Carolina. I know that North Carolina is not a safe place to be. The takeover is coming here. I'm talking New Mexico, Roswell, New Mexico is underwater right now. That's the danger we're in. So you guys have a good day.